Dear devotees, everybody wishes that let us spend a perfect life, and we want to live a very satisfactory and enjoying life. We all have this desire, but what we find the reverse. We find the reverse. We are not satisfied. We are in distress, in despair, in sorrow, full life. Sometimes we are in desperation. Sometimes we have got depression. We have a desire to lead an enjoying and satisfactory life, but we are not getting it. What is the reason behind it? We don't know the system. If you could understand the system, this life is not for sorrow, not for despair, not for depression, not for stress. And so when we listen to spiritual discourses, slowly we come to understand the system. A driver is driving a car. If he knows each and every part of the car, even if he knows the maintenance also, that if there any problem in the car comes, I can repair it. He drives peacefully. He drives without tension. But the driver who knows only to drive the car doesn't have a knowledge of each and every part of the car. He will drive with tension that if any problem comes, what shall I do? My car will be stuck. I have to call the mechanic, and when the mechanic will correct that defect, then my car will go. So you see, both are drivers, but there is a difference. So the driver of this body is the brain. Of course, we can say the mind also, because mind and brain gets connected. It is like the hardware and software. So if the mind, the brain doesn't know how to about this car perfectly, how to drive this car, that is the cause of tension, that is the cause of worry, that's the call of despair, that's the call of stress. So friends, if we listen to spiritual discourses, and not only listening, slowly understand it, and then implement in our life. This life is not for sorrow. This life is for enjoyment. This life is for peace. This life is for happiness. So, working should be through the right brain. And now the working is through the left brain. Friends, this is a fundamental truth. If you are working only with the left brain, the logical brain, we'll be having despair, stress, tension, everything in our life. And even failures and success will be mixed up. But if you could use the right brain along with the left brain, what we call the combination of the two things, the synchronization of the left and the right hemisphere, through the corpus callosum, life will be a different one. And it's true, those who have done that, they are enjoying life. And those who are only working with the one part of the brain, they are suffering. It's like walking on one leg. And moreover, actually, the left brain should not be the dominating one, the right one should have been the dominating one. Because viruses can enter the left part, it can never enter the right part. In the right part, in the right brain, there is always delta wave. And in computer also, if it is in a heated place, we can say that the computer may not work properly. So we keep a cold air conditioned atmosphere for the computer to work properly. What is happening with the left brain? It's vibrating in 4 frequencies. It has got 4 frequencies: delta, theta, alpha and beta. And the heated frequency, the first frequency is the beta one, and most of the time it is in the beta frequency. So decisions will be also erratic and results will also be unsatisfactory. And this is what is happening in our life. And we are just running without understanding the system. This corona virus, I feel, is a blessing in disguise. Coronavirus is a blessing in disguise because it gave us a chance to examine ourselves. For introspection, it has given us a chance. That this life that I used to spend, was it a right one or a wrong one? We have got a chance to think over, we have a chance to inspect ourselves. That the way I was working, was it right? The life that I was leading, is it only the goal of this human life? Or it is for something else? We used to praise science like anything. Oh, science is everything. Science has done everything. Now nature has shown that nature is bigger than science. Nature is greater than science. And if you see the other aspect of corona, environment is clean. The ozone layer is being corrected. The water has been purified. The quarrels, so many negative things that were happening in the world, that they are all stopped. And some of the spiritual people are saying it's the arrival of a golden era. And even nobody knows up till now for how many weeks or months this coronavirus will continue. People have started saying you have to live with this coronavirus. And now is the test of spirituality, the true spirituality. A true spiritual person can save himself in this corona period. First is because when he meditates, that meditates gives him a power to fight corona. Number one. Number two, if his intuitive brain is working, it will save him from the chances where he might get infected. Because the right brain knows the future also. Right brain has got so many special qualities which are not in the left brain. What science says about the left part and the right part, it says the left is the closed one with limited capacity, right is an open with an unlimited capacity, as I discussed yesterday. So, the thing is to activate the right part. And people say if you write with the left hand, the scientists say your right brain will activate, but it's up to 1%. Yesterday someone was phoning me, he was telling me that since I heard you, now I am writing with the left hand and I am writing many pages daily. I have practiced this. It's a good thing. It will help to some extent, but friends, that's not the solution. Solution is the meditation which activates the right brain. And that meditation is called metaphysical meditation. That's the true path. And if you could learn metaphysical meditation, and if you could practice metaphysical meditation, there is nothing like that. It will give us each and every type of satisfaction in our life. It's guaranteed, it's confirmed. It's the experience of devotees. Provided first we learn that metaphysical meditation and we practice that metaphysical meditation. You see, now meditation has become a business. Hundreds and thousands of meditations are there. And everybody says the meditation that I am teaching is correct. But if you ask about the result, they say you keep on practicing and you will get the result. Friends, this is not true. If I drink water just now, immediately I'll have the experience of quenching of my thirst. If I am hungry, if I eat food, at the same moment, I'll experience that satisfaction of my hunger. Not after 2 hours, not next day or after 1 week. People say you practice meditation and someday you will get peace of mind. Someday you will have satisfaction in life. That's not the thing. It is something which gives metaphysical meditation. If it is the true meditation, it gives immediate results. And moreover, some people ask me, those who teach metaphysical meditation, how much is the charge? I said, because generally now meditation courses are chargeable. This course is of 10,000, this is of 20,000, this advanced course is of that much. For this, there are these rules and regulations. Varieties of meditations they have created. But actually, metaphysical meditation is one and the same for everybody. And the one who teaches this meditation, it's free. Because we cannot pay for it. How, you will say how we cannot pay for it. Suppose we have to purchase Kohinoor diamond. Maybe some billionaires may purchase it. I am talking about general person. If a general person wants to purchase Kohinoor diamond, which is with the Queen of Britain, can he purchase it? It's impossible for him. But the Queen, out of compassion, may gift him. And this is what is the metaphysical knowledge. When we meet an enlightened spiritual master, we can't pay for this spiritual knowledge, the metaphysical knowledge, the metaphysical meditation that we practiced in the mother's womb. He can gift us that meditation. So we can't pay for it. It's so precious. Nothing in the world can compare it. There's a story of, I remember a story at the time of Lord Krishna. He had 2 wives, Rukmani and Satyabhama. And because they were with the master, they gave, because sometimes those who are with the master, they sometimes doesn't feel the importance of meditation. So they started meditating less. The importance, the power of holy name, they didn't understand. So to make them understand, Narad came up. And Narad did a trick, He said to the 2 queens, we may say, because Krishna also was a king, that don't you want Krishna in the next life also? They said, yes, why don't we want it? He said, then what you gift in this life, you will get in next life. This is a simple logic. So if you could gift me Krishna in this life, you will get in next life. So gift me Krishna. They got tricked by Narada. And they said, okay, we are gifting you, we are donating you, Lord Krishna, our husband. And that was done, a rich formality was done. And when Lord Krishna came, Narad said, come on, you have to go with me. Because your wives have gifted you to me, and so I'll take you. Now they were shocked and surprised. Because they didn't think that this will happen. And now they came to know that Narada had tricked you. But now it's gone out of their hands. They started praying to Narada that please don't take Krishna. Any solution is there, anything is there, we are ready for it. Narada said, okay, when you are pressing me so much, I'll think of her. They said, no, we are ready to give all the money, all the wealth, all the treasure that we have. King always have a treasure. We are ready to donate everything for Krishna. Please don't take him. He said, okay. In a balancing system, I'll put Krishna on one side, and on the other side you put your gold and your coins and your treasure, your wealth. And when the both parts are equal, I'll take that much money. So on one pan, Krishna was seated down, and on the other part, they started putting their money. All the money whatever they had with them, the treasure of the whole kingdom, they all put up there. Still, the balance was not there. The pan on the Krishna side was down. And he said, unless it's equal, if you can't equal, give me the equal money, then the weight of Krishna, I'm not going to leave Krishna, I'll take Krishna. Now they were terrified. What to do? They called Sudama the friend of Lord Krishna. You see, when we are in problem, we call somebody to help us. They called Sudama the old friend of Krishna, a devotee of Krishna also, and said, now you save us from this problem. We were tricked and we donated Krishna and now we are in a problem. So can't you help us? He said, okay, take out all this money back. So all the money was taken out. Then he took a small piece of grass. You see, surprising thing. He took a small piece of grass in his hand and meditated on the holy name. I am using the word holy name, not the names that we speak, that we listen, that we read in the scriptures. These names are created by us. I am talking of the primordial holy name, which was before creation also, when there were no languages. He meditated on that holy name and kept that piece of grass on the other pan. And the pan of Krishna got up. It became heavier than Krishna. And they got back Krishna. That incident was to make them understand the power of holy name. That holy name is powerful even than the Lord, incarnated Lord, and even more powerful than the God within us. Holy name is the most powerful thing spiritually. To make them understand the importance of holy name, that incident was created. And from that day, the two queens understood the value of holy name and they started meditating seriously on the holy name. So friends, if you go to the essence of spirituality, it's not complicated. People have made it complicated. It's very simple. If we could experience the holy name, which is vibrating within us, due to which our breathing process is going on, if we could connect our mind with that holy name, meditation means to connect the mind with that holy name. Some people, they overshow themselves to be wise. And the holy name is continuous 24 hours with me and I am meditating on your holy name. It's not so easy, friends. That's a final stage about which Lord Krishna says, Tashmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmar yuddhacha. You fight also and 24 hours continuously meditate on the holy name. That's the final state of enlightenment. The day we attain that state is a state of enlightenment. It's not so easy as we say from just that I am meditating 24 hours. All the time I am with the holy name. First, before that we have to experience the holy name. Experiencing breath is different and experiencing the holy name due to which the breathing process there is different. And that holy name is beyond words, beyond vocabulary, beyond language. We can't express it through our mouth. We can't pronounce it. And that's why our ancestors, the sages, the learned people, they wrote that it's a most sacred name, most holy name. The word holy means we can't utter it with our mouth. Suppose I take an apple, I touch it with my shoulder and give it to you, you will take it. The same apple, if I touch with my head and give it to you, you will take it. But the same apple, if I touch with my tongue and give it to you, will you take it? No. You say, now it's not pure. This has become dirty. This is not holy now. And you will not eat that. Similarly, Ramakrishna sage, Paramahansa sage, all the scriptures, all the names in the world are touched by this tongue. So they are not holy. But the pure name of God, the holy name of God is such, it cannot be uttered by our tongue, it cannot be touched by tongue. That's the holy name. And to experience that, every so-called spiritual master cannot make us experience the secrecy of that holy name. It's the only when we meet the enlightened spiritual master, like Lord Rama, like Krishna, like Buddha, like Christ, like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, like Nanaka, like Mahavir Swami, hundreds of incarnations have come in the world. And in every era, there is an enlightened master. Of course, it's very difficult to recognize him because, we prefer showmanship. People may be internally wrong, corrupt, but externally they show themselves to be very, very wise and honest and noble character people. So, and we are misled by such people. We are deceived by their showmanship. But this is not the taste of an enlightened spiritual master. The taste of an enlightened spiritual master is that he can make us experience the metaphysical knowledge, the metaphysical meditation that we practiced in the mother's womb. He can instantaneously open our third eye. For him, it doesn't take even a minute to open the third eye. He can open our third eye within seconds and make us experience that light which Arjuna perceived through Lord Krishna. He can make us experience that light which Vivekananda perceived through Lord Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He can make us experience that light which Anand experienced through Lord Buddha. He can experience that light which the disciples of Nanaka received through him. But again we do a mistake. We depend on the past masters, that they will make us experience that holy name and they will open our third eye. Friends, it's never possible. There must have been a special surgeon in the past. But if you have to get operated in the present times, we have to go to a living surgeon. A past surgeon, how much expert he might be, his statue or his photo cannot operate us. We have to go to a living surgeon. This experience of the metaphysical meditation is like a surgical operation. It's like a surgical operation. What he said, many people say, they write to me, oh, please let us send some program in YouTube, or let us please suggest some book through which we can learn metaphysical meditation. I have to reply to him, if you want to get operated and if you write to a doctor, please give me the clues how I can operate myself. What will he say? He will just laugh. Because that's an operation. It's like a surgical operation. And in a surgical operation, the doctor takes you to operation theatre, even give you chloroform, make you unconscious, then he operates you. Because it's a concentrated work. It's not an easy thing. So it's a surgical operation, and that surgical operation can only be done by a true enlightened spiritual master. And a living one, not the past masters. From the past master, we can have understanding that what type of metaphysical knowledge may be. We may have so many inspiration from their life, their teachings, like the teachings of Gita, like the teachings of Bible, like the teachings of Quran, like the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib. They make us understand spiritual things a lot, and they inspire us to lead a spiritual life. Their words clear out many doubts also. All these things can happen. But the experience of the knowledge which they imparted to their disciples, their followers during that time, their lifetime, to have that experience, we need a living spiritual master. So friends, let's search for a living spiritual master. And then he will make us experience that holy name. You see, when we talk about holy name, even for weeks together, we can speak on that holy name. But still will not be able to understand that holy name, because it is beyond language. That's why it says that there is a continuous rosary within you. It's going up and down. A saint says it is going up and down. He says, निरंजन माला घट में फिरे दिन रात, ऊपर आवे नीचे जावे, श्वास श्वास चली जात, संसारी नर जाने नहीं, बिरथा उमर बिहात, सदगुरु पूरा भेद बतावे, निश्चल मन ठहरात. The ending line, he says, this continuous rosary is going within you, going up and down. But we are ignorant of that, and so spending life for nothing. Because all the wealth that we have, you see what a person is doing now, accumulating wealth. But he knows, but he forgets that nothing will go with me. All the property, all the wealth, all the buildings, even the family, whatever is worldly with me, nothing will go with me. But the wealth of the holy name will go with us. Still we forget to accumulate that wealth. So, the Brahman saint is saying that people are wasting their life, ignorance of that holy word within the rosary prayed, within the automatic rosary going within us. But when we meet a enlightened spiritual master, he will make us understand the full secrecy of that rosary. Other teachers can't do that. They will teach us and still will be a failure. Because suppose I have not gone to a path up to the end, and if I try to lead others, what will happen? Both will fall somewhere in a pit. Suppose, spiritual path is like a trekking of the hills, Everest trekking, we can call it. So when we are trekking, to the hills, how cautious we have to be. And the guide has to be that person who has been to Everest, who has been to the top. He knows each and everything of how to conquer, how to follow the path. But if we take a novice one who has never been to that Everest and who has never even done trekking also may not be, and he is bluffing us, he becomes our guide, what will happen? The danger of both the life will be in danger. Life of both of those will be in danger. That's what is happening to us. We accept a spiritual person as our spiritual master. He has not reached the path. He is not. Kundalini has not reached the crown chakra, and without reaching the crown chakra, a person is not enlightened. So, what will happen? Both will go to hell. Both will suffer in next life. And then what can we do? The chance is gone. So friends, God has given us intellect. We have got brain to understand, to think, to contemplate. So let's listen to spiritual discourses, contemplate on it, and then find the true living enlightened master who can make us experience that metaphysical name of God. I am using the word metaphysical because it is beyond the brain and senses. It is beyond Om also. Some people say Om is the final name of God. Om is a speaking name of God. A better name than others, but not the ultimate. And that's why in Gita, Lord Krishna says, Om iti ekaksha Brahma. Iti word means ending. And people say, Om is the word. They are misinterpreting there. Iti means ending. Where even the Om is finished. Where even this physical language is finished. In that metaphysical language, which you call the Paramani, is the holy name. And only through the living master we can experience that name. And when we are connected to him, slowly we understand the total secrecy of holy name. In one day, even after being initiated with the true master, we don't understand the secrecy of holy name. It's so deep, secret. But when we keep on practicing and keep contact with that master, because the living master is the word made flesh. This is what the Bible says. The word dwelt into the body and became flesh and gave light to the world. The holy name manifests itself in a physical body, and that physical body is called the living, spiritual, enlightened master. And only through him we can understand the total secrecy of the holy name and meditate on that. Then our life will be a peaceful, happy, successful, and a satisfactory life. And that will activate the right brain. Then our right brain will be the dominating part. And then the life becomes an easy and a beautiful life. So friends, spirituality is not complicated, it's very easy. But we have to get the right direction. We have to understand the whole system. So now the time is up and we close today. And from tomorrow, I don't know whether we'll be able to do it or not. Thy will prevails. So if the time allows, the Hindi program, English program we'll be doing tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll be doing on that day on which he wishes. This series is still not complete. We have to understand a lot of things about the mind and the brain. So it will continue, but may not be next day, maybe some another day. So it's thy will. For the time, thanks everybody. Thank you very much.